Oh my God, what did I just watch? Because that's how you start a MonsterVerse TV show, by getting straight to that Titan action, boss. Those last 15 minutes were so exhilarating, they actually made me feel something. It's safe to say that Monarch Legacy of Monsters Season 2 was off to a hot start, and all I really gotta say is this shit means something to me. But so much happened in this first episode. Crazy Kong action, some crazy reveals, including the name drop of a kaiju that I did not see coming, as well as a whole bunch of new Titans. But what makes Monarch truly special is our human characters, because they're the best of the bunch, and it looks like this season is gonna double up on that emotional gut punch. But I'm going to be recapping and reviewing the episode with spoilers, so this is your spoiler warning. You have been warned. But either way, me and you know what we got to do. We got to talk about it. First things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. But for real, we kick off season 2 in Bedlam, mayhem. Immediately after that crazy Kong cliffhanger of season 1, they throw us straight into that action. Because Kong wasn't just out here throwing fits. He was throwing cars, buildings, helicopters, bodies. Kong was out here punching people 6 feet under and stepping on people 6 feet under. No funeral needed. Now that I think about it, Kong's such a good dude, avoiding funeral costs for their family. Well, what a guy, my bad, what an ape. Listen, legendary, if you ever need someone to just die in a MonsterVerse movie, I'm here. I volunteer as tribute. And by the way, get started on a MonsterVerse roller coaster ride, because this right here is needed. It's a requirement at this point. And I love how we have a new crew comprised of the past meeting the present, with Keiko, who is Hiroshi's mom, and Kate and the Randa's grandmother. But enough of the family reunion, yay, run! After we cut to black and get that beautiful Monarch score from Leopold Ross, we pick up with Keiko being treated like E.T. and getting probed. But she's a boss, and she's immediately like, get your hands off me, and runs out into the deck and sees that they're on a Monarch ship out in the middle of the ocean outside of Skull Island. Damn, they're really that pussy from Kong that they went out to the ocean? But we see that Apex Cybernetics and Monarch are working together. And it was actually through the help of Apex that they were able to save everyone that was stuck in Axis Mundi. And in case you need a reminder, Axis Mundi is essentially the upside down of the MonsterVerse. It's the in-between the surface world and the Hollow Earth, and it has crazy time dilation. But they're scrambling because they're trying to figure out why the hell Kong attacked them, because they've been operating on there for about a year and nothing ever happened before. Tim mentions that as long as we don't fuck with him, he don't fuck with us. So what went wrong? We see that they're holding the Randas and May captive, but they're all like, we gotta go back for Lee Shaw. We think he could still be out there. But Monarch and Apex is like, listen, we ain't going back there. Kong just fucked us all up. When Keiko passes out, because your body's not supposed to go through Access Money that quick and you need to readjust. But we conveniently pick up with a flashback to Santa Soledad in southern Chile in 1957 with our thrilling threesome, a young Lee Shaw, Bill Randa, and a young Keiko. But while they're on this boat, they talk about one of their previous events and they name drop Pulgasari. Where are my kaiju ball knowers at? Everybody else, you know nothing about Pulgasari. This is way before your time. Now, the Pulgasari lore is actually fucking insane, because essentially he's the North Korean Godzilla. The director of this movie actually got kidnapped by Kim Jong-il. Insane lore, I might do a video on that just by itself. But we are one step closer to acknowledging my glorious King Gamera. But it turns out Santa Soledad is this very secluded group of individuals that they've decided to check out because they've heard of sea monster sightings, and Bill Rand is still trying to find out what happened to that ship that he was on when he was a kid. When they come across this very inauspicious sea creature, Bill tries taking a picture, but the people ain't having it. They say, hey, gringo, put that shit away. Thankfully, they de-escalate, but Bill, you gotta read the room, bro. You don't just take your camera out and take pictures of this shit. Meanwhile, we see that Shaw did make it out alive. He did survive that fall somehow, even without saying, my neck and my back. But you ain't in Kansas anymore, bucko. And keeping up with the Randas, Hiroshi explains to Kate that her grandma, Keiko, is suffering from the effects of being in the Axis Mundi for so long and readjusting to the surface world, which is when Kate tells him that we got to go back for Shaw. He would do the same thing if we were in that situation. And at first, Hiroshi's like, no, we're not going to do that. Then he's like, ah, fuck it. Let's do it as long as I come with you. Meanwhile, we see that Apex still has a keen interest in May due to her, abilities, which really makes me wonder if May's going to have something to do with how Apex Cybernetics is able to create Mechagodzilla in the future. Because I feel like we're going to get a lot of questions answered from the events between King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong. I wouldn't be surprised if we somehow see Alan Jonah in this series and we find out how the severed head of Kevin ends up with Apex Cybernetics and Tirazawa's son. Regardless, Kate, by the way, honest why, the plot is plotting. She asks May for her help, and May begrudgingly agrees, so she fucks around with Tim a little bit, and they're able to get a boat. As they drive to the island, we see the return of those giant crabs. Giant crabs? Hey, y'all! Money. You might remember the Mantle Claw, which was in the opening scene of Monarch Season 1. They pull up on a beach looking like Ocean's 11 with this aura shot. As they travel through Skull Island, we actually get the live-action appearance of the Psycho Vulture, who's taking out the damn leaf wing, which is essentially the gnats of the MonsterVerse. And it was so dope to see the Psycho Vulture in live action, which made their first debut in Skull Island, The Birth of Kong. Oh, you thought the danger on Skull Island was over? Here go two more for you. As they stumble upon Kong, who's doing his best Snorlax impersonation. They're doing good until Kate almost gets turned into gum. But thankfully, they pull a Zilla 98 and she was stuck in between the fingers. Which, by the way, I know some of y'all dirty asses need to fucking wash between your fingers. This is your reminder. Damn, Kong be keeping up with his fingernails. That's good shit. He be getting mani-pedis on Skull Island. As they continue on their journey, we get a nice little shot of Kong sleeping, and it just reminds me of Godzilla sleeping in the Roman Colosseum. They're best friends that just don't know it yet. I know John Bernthal pissed though. But I think we ain't done yet because they try to get the machine up and running again, which is when Kentaro and May go to restart the power, get introduced to this fucking big ass swamp rat. which is a brand new Titan that has been introduced this season. And it is one ugly mother. And by the way, this has to be a clear, obvious reference to the Velociraptor scene in Jurassic Park. It chases after May, who actually jukes it out a little bit. Kentaro gets a forklift and sticks a fork in this swamp rat. R.I.P. Bozo. And this is probably just me, but it reminded me of the power loader scene from Aliens. Get away from May, you bitch. And I thought it was so funny how Kentaro told Meg, Lee Shaw better be alive. Picking back up with Monarch, Keiko wakes up wondering where the hell did everyone go? And Tim and her share a nice moment. You could tell he's fanboying out because the reason Monarch started is because of all of her work. He even immediately calls her Dr. Randa. And she's over here like, damn, I've been fighting my whole life to be called a doctor. You gotta think the 50s were way different. And now, just imagine being in her own headspace. Like, you just shifted forward 60 plus years. Tim tells her that she could change Monarch. She's the change they need. She's like, well, I just hope I'm helpful. And then she immediately helps out in the next scene. First of all, they find out that Kate, Kentaro, Hiroshi, and May are on Skull Island. But they're also still trying to figure out why the hell Kong attacked their base. Which is when Keiko says, wait a minute, hit that zoom in enhance. And we see one of those little crustaceans. Same one that was posted up on the wall on Santa Soledad, all the way back in 52. So he was clearly provoked. And speaking of the past, the bartender actually tells them that she'll help them out as long as they leave after she shows them. And she ends up showing them cave paintings of the sea creature they call their god. It's literally their religion. And obviously this god is the new Titan, Titan X. Kate and her dad get some nice alone time where they get to kind of hash out the beef they have between each other. He explains that she wouldn't understand. Kentaro's mom is the only one he could share his life with because she worked at Monarch. But he loved both Kentaro's mom and Kate's mom. And Kate says that's not good enough. Like, how can you love two people at one time? And he just says it's not that simple. As we cut back to the past, conveniently, like son, like mother, because Keiko herself is in love with two people. They're gazing upon this beautiful eclipse. We pick back up with Shaw and Axis Mundi, and that porky pig is back with the same arrow in his eye. And Lee's like, I got my little shiv. Come fuck with me. And when they finally get the machine up and running, everyone takes helicopters to meet them there. And he's like, you know what? We can't do this. It's too big of a risk. We got to just dip out and go back to Monarch. As Keiko, Verdugo, and a Monarch squad pull up, they urge Kate to go. But then she gets a flashback of when Lee Shaw saved her because he never leaves anyone back. And she pushes the goddamn button. And oh my goodness, I cannot wait for the discourse surrounding this decision. But she reopens the gate, which activates Kong. And if Kong is anything like me, who gets abruptly woken up, he's gonna be angry. Thankfully, Porky Pig runs the fuck away now. Shaw sees the ship come through the portal, but as he sprints over, he notices a giant figure next to the portal. And then a bunch of those creepy crawlies start running at him towards Titan X. I thought it was so funny how they kept climbing on him and fucking with him. He kicked them around and shit. He makes it into his ship as Titan X awakens from its slumber. He just gazes upon Titan X in awe. As Titan X goes through the portal, he does as well. But ah shit, we got a stowaway. But you better know who you're coming for. That's an action sci-fi king right there. But as Titan X comes out of surface world, Verdugo gets fucking swept away by one of its tentacles. R.I.P. Verdugo, we hardly knew you. As Kate looks up with the hair blown in the wind, we get a brief look at Titan X climbing through the damn portal and running away, or waddling away. And Lee Shaw said, did you forget the thing? Tombstone? Death Proof? Big Trouble in Little China? As he made mincemeat out of that little critter. He makes it out on Skull Island, and I love Kate's reaction saying, Shaw! But ah shit, here we go again. Kong don't like what he sees. And for a second, I thought they were cooked. So he just really wanted to get rid of this game sphere. That's ball knowledge, if you know, you know. And my goodness, we're like this close to getting Harambe'd. After he destroys the machine, he's immediately like, all right, where's that fucking Titan? Get off my lawn. I love the moment between Shaw and Keiko reuniting because he's all she has of what's a semblance of her actual life that she remembers. He's like, you probably should have just left me behind. And she's like, just holds his hand. I already love their relationship. Almost as much as I love Tim looking down from the helicopter at Kong, looking back up at them like, oh, I'm not done with Shaw. I'm swatting you guys away as soon as I'm done with the sea monster because it's lunchtime and I want sushi. But you got to be quicker than that, Kong, because Titan X makes it to the ocean and just swims hella fast. But he tried to get it though. He jumps immediately into the water and just starts yelling at it. And then says, look back at it. Whoa, look back at it. And roars at the helicopter saying, y'all did this shit. This is on you. As we get a shot of Kate, Kentaro, and May looking extremely concerned. Obviously, she probably feels extremely guilty for letting that thing loose. As we cut to black. Yeah, dog, that is how you get a season of television started. Breakneck pace, incredible kaiju, Titan lore, Monsterverse lore, Easter eggs, detail, with great human emotion and character work. Moral conundrums galore. And I can't wait to see where the season keeps going. But let me know what you thought about that episode down in the comments below, as well as my thoughts, theories, and opinions. And make sure you like and follow for more.